I call the meeting to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Bill Tomei.
Here.
Steve Rolando.
Here.
Jackie Stanley is not going to join us this evening. Leroy.
Here.
Bob Wright.
Here.
Brooks Magoogan.
Here.
Ike White.
Yeah.
Deborah Lehman here. And I don't see Terry Lynn on right now. Okay. All right, on the minutes, do we have any corrections to the minutes?
I have a clarification, actually. Page 5, building committee report. In the second paragraph, where it says Commissioner Tomei reported the building committee met last Thursday and decided discussing the oil contract for Station 5. They also looked at RFQs from 8 architects, and just for clarification, right after 8 architects, we should insert the words for Kilo River, because the minutes we're discussing Station 5 just before that. So just to
Yeah, for clarification.
clarify.
Okay, and your name is misspelled.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I've lived with that for 70 plus years.
We will make those changes, but you can approve with changes and we'll make sure that
Okay.
gets corrected.
So I'll make a motion to approve with changes. Do I have a second? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstain? Okay, the meetings will be approved with the corrections. Any public comments? Chief's report.
Happy Monday, good evening for everybody. We've got quite a bit on the agenda for tonight, and a presentation I'll do a little bit later once we get into new business as well, but want to go over a few things as well too. Want to first thank our commissioners and also our personnel who attended our promotion and award ceremony on Saturday morning. We had a great attendance, some good food, and had a really nice morning as well too. So I want to thank you for all those who came down and were in attendance and supported our personnel as well too. And I'll highlight a couple of those awards as well. Our firefighter of the year was Mr. Garrett Mack. Our engineer of the year was Mr. Daniel Lauder. Our officer of the year was Mr. Tim Northern. Our support staff of the year was Ms. Sarah Brown, who's our payroll specialist. And the fire chief's award for excellence was Ms. Teresa. So I did, though, I'm going to take my mic with me. Hold on. I did screw up. I had a big screw up on Saturday. I had a couple screw ups on Saturday, but one big one as well too. That was the biggest one. We did have, we celebrated our promotions of our personnel as well too, including those that work in this building. And I regretfully missed one of those as well too. So I'd like Miss Danielle to come up. And I'd like to recognize Miss Danielle's promotion to controller, and thank her for her hard work, even though she told me not to do this. But it was not fair to her, and that was on me, and I messed that up, and I apologize for that. But thank you for the work you do.
So on that topic, I'd like to make a motion to give, Danielle's doing multiple jobs right now because our staff accountant position is open. And so I'd like to make a motion to give her a one-time bonus for a net of $1,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? If you want, I can put that in the email to okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Just to highlight, there's a lot of unseen work. I think that happens. I think everybody knows that, particularly from our staff, and with the staff count position open and then going through budget season as well too. I've made life difficult for Danielle in a lot of ways, but we've gotten through it together, and she's grown in her role as controller, and congratulations and thank you for the work that you do. Also on that part, I do want to thank Miss Danielle, Teresa, and Stephanie. They were the big drivers of the people who assisted putting the event on. And we had some beautiful flower arrangements and just kind of a nice day as well too. And also thank you Brownswood Nursery here on Johns Island donated flowers for the centerpieces as well too. So thank you ladies for helping me putting on a great event as well too. Chief Prowse, will you highlight incidents for February into March?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So for February's incident responses, we had a total of 292 responses. That breaks out to 165 on Johns, 54 on Kiowa, 45 on Seabrook, and 28 on Wadmalaw. We did have one incident of interest, we avoided a significant incident on Kiowa, and that was at 85 Blue Heron Pond. At 10 o'clock at night on a Tuesday, we received an automatic alarm for a single residence. Crews arrived on scene with nothing evident, but with a thorough 360 conducted, they found a fire on the rear deck of the property. Property was currently under renovations, so we found that the fire started from improperly discarded construction material at lacquers, cans of paint thinner, such. The crews were able to hold the fire at bay with a water can initially until a line was stretched to the rear. This property is valued at $17 million, and we have about $15,000 in damages that we were able to hold to. So we're very, very proud of the proactive reaction with our group. And we worked very well with the Kiowa property management group to make sure we got this thing under control, secured, and really turned out to be a good incident compared to what it could have been. 10 o'clock at night, it would have been a large Roman candle for the Charleston area had it carried away. So thankful for that. Any questions? Awesome.
That segues a little bit into some of the training and things we've been doing as well too. Professional Standards hosted some more officer development for us. Our captains completed a critical thinking for incident commanders class, and that class finishes up this week as well too. A couple other things just of note. Recently, I wanted to also recognize, we couldn't be here tonight, but wanted to recognize Captain Steve Manti. Some of you have seen him around. He's been in the Deputy Fire Marshal's office, has been in a lot of our neighborhoods and things like that as well too. Retired from the Fire Marshal's office. He had a full career in Connecticut, I believe, and then has been down in the Charleston area for about 8 or 9 years now and retired. So I wanted to thank him for his service to St. John's. That position of his, which is our Community Risk Reduction Coordinator, has been posted, and we've received quite a few applications in that short period as well too. 4 recruits finished EMT class today. All 4 passed their state examination today, so we get them back, I think, tomorrow. They'll be here tomorrow and then back out on our line for operations to support as well too. So congratulations to them they had a long process in Mount Pleasant, but they're coming out with EMT and certified as firefighters as well too. So a couple other things going on. The old Marine 701, the old boat, is up on GovDeals. If anybody is looking for a 26-foot boat that hang on to, it's got some Yamaha engines on it. It's not in the best shape, but it's workable. It's got good things. But we're selling some things on GovDeals. That's a big one. One of the old spare engines that has a blown engine that we weren't going to fix is on there as well too. So selling some random things. A couple other things. Station 3, we had some repairs to the roof. Those have finally been completed. Luckily for us, they identified some other areas and still had some leftover materials so that they could fix some other spots for us. One of our spare ladders also had an engine repair this last month of about $12,000 that was unanticipated as well too. The tower? It's not. No, this was one of our other ones. Yep. But we do have the tower back with new tires, which is nice. If you can recall back, we talked about this probably maybe a year and a half ago, maybe even longer, 2 years ago. There's a new development going in by Station 5 called Orange Hill. They're putting a golf course there. There's about 125 homes, give or take, and some other buildings as well too. We had discussed as a commission and requested that we have an ask of that, similar to like what we did with Kiowa River as well. And we had asked for $450,000 towards an apparatus, towards an engine as well too. Well, that development's finally going in front of county council with likely to be approved as well too. So I made sure last week that was still in the agreement as well. It is. They do have a benchmark to hit similar to Kiowa River. I think it's 50% occupancies and they would give us then $450,000 towards an engine, which will play into a little bit about the presentation I have tonight as well too, but wanted to make sure that was still on there as well too. We completed the fiscal year 26 budget. We'll talk about that a little bit in finance committee and discuss it later in the agenda for approval as well too. And before we start HR report, we met this morning and we're talking and creating our plan to tackle some of the vacancies we have at each rank as well too. We know of some vacancies also on the horizon, and a plan to tackle that, which includes also with your approval tonight, a new pay plan, which I think will be also helpful. We also know that's only one piece of it. So all that said, Ms. Teresa, would you like to go over the HR? Please?
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Let's see. We hired a staff accountant that starts on the 24th. I'm sure Danielle's very happy about that. We're looking forward to her coming on board. We have 2 academy recruits starting this Wednesday, and on Monday they'll go to Columbia for their academy, followed by the EMT, just like Mount Pleasant did. So that's exciting. And they're in Columbia, so they get to like stay overnight and everything, which I think would be awesome experience. Separations, we did have a few this month. We had a couple firefighters, 1 engineer, and then Steve Mantai's retirement. And really, the only other thing, the big thing that's going on is effective March 1st, we went on to new insurance, an insurance broker. It's still a Blue Cross, but it's not the state plan anymore. And it's with McGriff is the broker, and we are in a consortium with the Firefighter Association with a lot of other fire districts. And so far, so good. The representative was here today and went through, we were auditing everything, so made sure everything is correct in there. And so far we have, a little smattering of questions and issues, but not much. So we're really happy with it so far. Anyway, so that's one of our biggest deals right now. Any questions? No? Gosh.
Yeah, I'd have to get you a firm number.
Yeah.
We've got some vacancies at captain in the floater ranks, and I think there's 2 additional. There's 3 or 4 at engineer, and then
We've got the 4 coming tomorrow, the recruits.
there's a handful at, or less than a handful at firefighter level as well too.
Yeah, we've got the 4 that are finishing.
Yeah, and it's the problem, we've talked about our forced overtime situation and things like that too. It's one of the things that bothers me the most about what these people do for us and their schedule and their long hours as well too. And we're I think a department that's in in the midst of a change as well too, and we're committed to a high level of professionalism and service delivery as well. And so we balance that, and we're also a young department. We have, and I think I've talked about this before, we have a depth issue as well too. We've got a lot of new people in, and the engineer job is difficult, the captain job is difficult, battalion chief job is difficult, and getting those people ready for those positions without it's a delicate push and pull with that as well too. So got a plan to tackle some of that, and thankfully too, we have applications in there and stuff as well too if people want to come work here. So.
Oh, and one thing I'll mention, the 3 that left, besides Steve Mantai, the other 3, they're all moving outside the area. They're not going to another district here, moving out of state. All 3 of them.
If you have a person they're going to sell solar panels in Detroit, I don't know I don't mean that as a joke. That's just, I don't know what we can do about that, honestly.
Arizona, Florida, and Detroit.
Yeah.
The 3 places.
So it's kind of the way, it's not an excuse by any means. It's kind of the way of the world right now. And I feel slightly better. We're not the only ones in this position, but also there's a lot of things we're doing, I think, that help support our personnel, and people see that as well too. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of applications waiting, as far as next time we have recruits needed and stuff. So yeah, we're out there as a good place to work.
The big thing we did last year was the floater positions to alleviate some forcing at the captain and engineer position. Our problem is we've never even been in a position to fully implement that because by the time we get people ready to get in those positions, we've got a couple that leave, and it's a cycle. So we don't even know how well that works, if it works at all. So we're working on that, and coming up with some ideas to fill those and get some relief for our guys in the back.
Thank you.
That's my report. I'm happy to answer any questions I've got. Bill, sorry.
Yeah, I do have a question. And please don't take this in any way as a political question.
Mhm.
But recently, the National Fire Academy has canceled
Mhm.
all the classes. And I know that affects
Yep.
St. John's Fire District. Do you know of any alternatives to that right now? I hate to put you on the spot this
No.
early, but
No, it is a political thing, unfortunately, but and I'll say this because the National Fire Academy means a lot to me personally.
Yes.
It's a wonderful place. It sucks that it's happened. They laid off a bunch of the staff. It's now closed. I'm not sure we had anybody slotted to go, but one thing, we really supported is people going there and having learning experiences and meeting people there as well too. So
it's
is
free.
it's free. Is there something comparable? No, there's nothing comparable to it. But we'll also keep working hard to send our people to conferences and the improvement conference and supporting them going outside to learn more about the job from other people around the country as well too. So
No other places where they can get to EFO, for instance. Wow, that's sad.
Yep. Yep.
Before we go any further, Terry Lynn joined
Yeah.
us. So I was just looking for the sign up
I
sheet.
got you.
Terry
I
Lynn,
got you.
we'll add you to the sign up sheet. Okay, finance report.
Hello, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Okay, I'm going to go over the February financial report. Our budget remaining goal is 33.34%, and we are experiencing savings at 36.79%. The bank balances as of February 28th include our operating account at 17.9 million, our LGIP account at around 13,000, our 2021 Go Bond account at $83, our 2022 Go Bond account at around 25,000, our 2023 account around 351,000, and our 2024 account at around 16.9 million. In February, our collections included retiree reimbursements and reimbursement for our advanced EMT program and a payment from Kiowa Island for our paramedic program. Our January collections from the county was around 11.1 million, and our non-standard overtime for February was around 78,000. For the month of February, our operating expenditures year to date was at 12.9 million, which includes encumbrances. Our base pay percentage was at 85%, and we are seeing a 9.25% increase in tax revenue compared to this time last year. Any questions? So we pay the retirees, we pay their health benefits, and then they pay us back.
yes, they have electable coverage for health benefits when upon retirement. They pay for those benefits. We pay it and then they just pay us back.
Spencer, attorney update. Do you have anything that you want to go over?
Hey, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to the South Carolina State House's back room. I'm up here for the budget. I apologize for being on Zoom this month. This will unfortunately probably be an annual occurrence for me every March because we do budget it seems to fall on our commission meeting dates. But I am delighted to report that our settlement with St. John's Water has been complete. Their board approved it and signed it. We have approved it. Thank you to our chair lady for signing that. We have filed that with the court so we can check that off of our list. Yay. And the second other big thing on my department is the lease for the new fire station over in Kiowa River. Charleston County got back to us with the last round of edits. I still had some additional concerns about the language they had put in, specifically with approval for certain changes that we wanted to make. Last word I got is that they agree with me on those changes. We just are waiting on them to actually be made. I think evidence for why we don't need to be waiting on approval every time we need anything. But other than that, I don't believe we need an executive session this evening. Those are the updates on my end.
Okay. Joe Boykin, the Charleston County Council representative for most of John's Island. He was here on our Thursday Finance Committee meeting, and he also joined us at the promotion awards ceremony
Oh,
on
good.
Saturday. Yeah, and both times he assured me that he is talking to the legal department at the county
Okay.
and telling them that they need to expedite it because we now have an architect for Kiowa River and we need to move forward. So just, I wanted to let you know that Joe's trying to
Thanks.
help out too. And if you need
Okay.
to reach out to him, he said I said, do you have Spencer's contact information? He said, oh, yes.
Yeah, we
So,
were on the phone about another issue on Saturday, but yeah, okay,
Okay.
that's good to know.
but
Thank you.
yeah, he said if there's anything he can do to help you, but evidently he was going to be with one of the attorneys. He was going to mention something to them. So I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's perfect.
Thank you.
Want to, before you get to the next item, I think we've been working on the water settlement since almost I've been here. I think there's 2016, 17,
8 years.
18, somewhere in there,
8, 9.
like that. And I think I speak on behalf of this group to thank Deborah for her efforts in that. She's been instrumental in that, as long as a couple other commissioners. That's finally, God willing, that's finally behind us. And, we can move forward, but you had a vision there and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Be my legacy.
That'll be the legacy. We're gonna, you can pick the fire hydrant color at Station
There you
5,
go.
okay?
Won't
We'll
be
put
purple.
we'll put the Deborah Lehman Memorial Fire Hydrant. So
Any unfinished business or old business? Okay, new business. The first item for new business is both the chief and I are going to be out of town on our normal April commission meeting. So we're asking, and I'd like to make a motion for approval of moving the April commission meeting date to April 7th. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Thank you very much for supporting them.
and they'll move from April 14th to April 7th. It's just
Yes.
the Monday before that. So it's the first Monday in April.
Do you want to kick off a discussion of the
Yeah.
finance? Well, basically, and I'll just jump ahead here just a second, but the finance committee meeting was Thursday, March 6th. And we did go over various scenarios. So I'll let the chief go into more detail, but the finance committee was supportive, and we'll get to that in a minute, of one of the options.
Sure. We have an agenda item is the fiscal year 26 budget approval that's due to Charleston County this Friday for us to send them, even though it's not till July as well too. So we presented a couple different options to the finance committee for our fiscal year 26 budget. I do have, and I apologize that it's in mouse handprint here, but
Yeah.
my daily battle with Microsoft Excel. But so we're looking at things here, and we've updated some revenue numbers. We updated just a couple small budget numbers of some things we needed to tweak since we last spoke to you. But we feel with even the revenue in a millage increase of just 1 point that we'll have a fairly balanced budget for next year as well too. So as you can see on the sheet, and we talked about this at the finance committee, there's a lot of red. Red means it was an increase that's over 10% as well too. And we've, I think we have a really, really strong budget based on the work that our personnel did this year as well too, and talking about needs that we had. And we also know there's some areas we really, really need to work on to bring our budget number down as well too, like workers' comp and some other things as well. So, but this addresses trends that we've seen, particularly equipment maintenance, facilities maintenance, overtime. We recalculated that. And then obviously the big piece is the new pay plan that has some significant raises for our personnel and makes us competitive in the area, keeps us competitive in the area as well too. So it's, I'm happy to answer any questions, anything you see on the sheet or anything that came up since last week. I'm happy to discuss that.
Just to add to that a little bit, we talked about 3 options. And by the way, Joe Boynton was here and he seemed really supportive of what we're going to recommend here. But one option was a 0.5 increase on mill for property taxes. That'll get us a little bit further along, but it was kind of conservative. Another option was to do nothing, which would kind of really set us back because, everything's becoming more expensive. And the last time that we asked for a mill increase was at least a couple of years ago, and we asked for a 1.5% increase on the mill increase. So we are being a little conservative, and what we're recommending, and we can discuss it further, but we're recommending just a 1% increase to our mill. So we would go from 26.8 for a mill up to 27.8 for a mill. And the chief used my house as an example to look and see like how much more taxes would I pay? And it was $45 a year. So I told him I thought I could afford that. I just won't be able to buy another bottle of wine, but I'm good on that.
I'll buy it for you.
Thank you. So, and Joe, you know, I asked him his reaction, and he seemed like we were being reasonable, you know, coming in with, he didn't say, yes, I support this. I didn't want to put him totally on the spot, but, you know, he heard the whole discussion about the 1%, 1 mil increase. So that's the motion that I'm making, is that we approve this option for a 1 increase in the mill for the 2026 budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion before we vote?
And I just, real quick, I'll just say as well too, that it's kind of like a worst case scenario budget as well. We're working hard to come in under budget this year as well, and hopefully add to that fund balance, a little bit more as well. And then this option is kind of that, particularly like salaries, we budget really on the high side as well too. And as you know, we've tried to, when we do have the savings, we try to give that back, as well too, but also, to balance that with adding to our fund balance too. So, anyway, I just say that as it's kind of the worst case scenario too, and we hope to come in under budget.
Yeah, now we do have a fund balance in excess of our bylaws of $6 million. And I know that sounds like a lot of money, but I said if something happens that we didn't anticipate, equipment breakdown, hurricane, that we have a lot of damage, that even though we have insurance, we'd have deductibles, et cetera. We thought we feel comfortable with that cushion, and we can dip into it maybe a little bit for some things, like I was thinking radios or whatever. But with that being said, I still think that we're coming in with this recommendation of one increase to the mill is being, you know, reasonable. So I'd like to vote now, since we have a second. Is everyone in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, the budget passes. Thank you.
Okay, next one, I'm gonna go, we'll go to the podium here.
Okay.
If you find it with load.
Okay.
This, we just have a quick presentation, but we gotta discuss a couple funding things here as well too. So thank you again for our budget. And as we kind of got into some budget discussions, we also had an initial meeting on Station 5, which I'm sure Commissioner Tomei will go over as well too. But we do have to talk about some funding for those projects, and where we're, I feel, a bit short on how these come in, and then how we kind of fund some of our projects that we've talked about doing in the future as well too with that. So I'll kind of go, whoops, it helps if I turn it on.
And just to clarify, what we just approved was the operating
Yes,
budget.
yeah, good
And
point.
now we're going to talk about the capital budget.
Yeah, this is capital projects and expenditures and money funded out of our bonds in alternative ways as well too. So just a quick overview. We have right now just kicking off the Station 5 replacement and training building with some slight improvements there as well too. And then also Kiowa River Fire Station. And just as a reminder, we do have some shared costs there with Charleston County as it relates to the site work as well too. So where we are, so back in, now it was
Last summer.
last summer, we had the county council approved us for expenditures of $24,500,000 to spend. We issued the first GO bond several months ago, and that issuance was to cover the cost of 2 engines. That money's already spent, and then these fire station projects as well too. And I'll show you a little bit. In total, it was about $23.6 million in projects. So that first initial bond was the $9 million for Station 5, $8 million for Kiowa River, and then the engine replacements literally came in right at $1.9 million. So that money's gone. Now what's important to note here is that these numbers, the 9 million, 8 million, also include architect fees and everything like that, which are significant cost And also there's fees associated with, we're doing a survey right now. And although it's not a lot of money, that stuff adds up in the grand cost of a project as well too. So then our thought process was, okay, we've got this money for this fire stations. The next bond tranche would then be some money for some Station 2 and 7 refurbishment that we have. The tenders that you've already approved, those are essentially getting paid out of this bond, and we're paying ourselves back with the next bond issuance. But that tender money has already been paid as well too. And then we talked about a tower replacement at $2 million, which is probably under budget as well too. So I say that as just an update, like this was where we were at with the projects for the $24 million we were approved for as well. So like I said, the 2 engines, that's done. That's already been paid for. The 2 tenders pretty much done. We did get those under budget. We budgeted 1.3 million. We got those for just under $1 million for both of them as well too. So we had some savings there as well too. And that's why we got that approved as quick as we could for those savings. So saying all that, we've got a couple things to address. One is Station 5, I feel is probably going to likely need a significant budget increase. We're looking at, for just the station itself, about $6 million. The training building itself is anywhere from 800,000 to $1 million, with also the site improvements that need to happen around it as well. And what we found, I don't want to jump ahead, and Commissioner Tomei can jump in here when you want to, but the initial programming that kind of laid out, we said we don't really have as much space as we thought we were going to have. So now it's a little bit of a bigger station with training offices and a training room and some different improvements to the station as well too. And we're seeing just construction costs are just through the roof. The city fire station down the road is over $12 million project, and that's just a fire station as well. So I say that as just, we thought we took a good best effort at what maybe this would cost, but I have a feeling we're going to come in a bit. We've under budgeted the projects. Kiowa River is a bit of an unknown. Of course, we haven't signed a contract yet with that architect, so we don't really exactly know where that price point sets. If I had to guess, because this is the trend we're seeing in all these projects, is that's probably maybe under budget as well too. The good news is we do have those shared costs with the county that will alleviate some of that, but also just construction of fire stations is just brutally expensive right now. Again, we saved that $300,000 on the tenders, and we were working towards the next bond issuance this fall of that remaining money as well. So in that next, we have an approval capacity of approximately $5.2 million. We've already accounted for $1 million of that $5.2 million in the tenders. We've already accounted for that. We have approximately $4 million then that we can use at our discretion, whether it's station refurbishments, station construction costs, apparatus. We've kind of really have a broad umbrella there to use it for those things as well too. And I do want to acknowledge we do have fund balance also available. So we do have about $6.2 million currently in fund balance. If there was some costs that come up and maybe our project's only $500,000 over budget, it may be more prudent for us to use that fund balance instead of issuing through the bonds. I feel it's going to be more than that. I can't give a really good guess, but I'm going to guess we might need an extra $1 million or $2 million for Station 5 when this is all said and done as well. I put the Orange Hill in there as well as just a reminder. We also have that piece of money coming in. I can't tell you when that's coming in, but that project is going. The negatives, if we move some of that money from this next bond, is we'd be pushing that money from 2 and 7 to a different time and pushing that down the list. And then also that replacement of the ladder tower. The ladder tower we feel is fine. We have a new ladder on Kiowa, and then our tower is still in good condition. But also right now it's 50 months, 46 months. It's a long time for ladder trucks right now as well too. So saying that, got some decisions to make, and I'll kind of come back to this as well. This is our just a simple graph on our debt capacity. So we have an 8% debt capacity on our assessed value. So when they did the bonds, our assessed value of the entire district was somewhere around $695 million. We can issue debt up to 8% of that. Our assessed values now are almost like north of 750 million. So that capacity will rise a little bit as well. But how we've structured our debt as well is the blue is all this existing debt for projects we had already completed, such as the maintenance building, some prior apparatus, things like that. And then this proposed was the $19 million that we, basically essentially the $19 million that we've added on there as well too. So as you can see though, in the next couple of years, some of this debt starts falling off and our capacity expands as well. So future, our current debt capacity right now is about $14 million. Again, I'm not telling us we should issue more debt now, but I'll tell you where I'm going here in just a second. So that debt starts falling off. We can increase that capacity in the next few years. So we're looking at, today we sat down and really looked at our apparatus replacement plan as well too, and marrying that with the long lead times as well. We feel in the next, really in the next year to 2 years, we need to order 3 engines in a ladder truck as well too. And you're looking at a real approximate cost of that of $6 million on the high end as well too. And we say that as the long lead times, that's actually moving a truck up in schedule as well too, so that we can, again, it's a long lead time as well too. And we still need quite a bit of work done at Station 2. Specifically, Station 2 has some significant building issues that we need to address. Station 7, we really needs a full makeover refurbishment as well too. So my recommendation is we do apply some of this next bond issuance to the station construction costs. We should hopefully in the next, hopefully 6 to 8 months, we may know that number a little bit better. And then once we have that agreement with the construction manager, that number is not going to change for us. So we will know that number a little bit. But I wanted to get this in front of you today too, because we'll have to make some decisions here fairly quickly on what we do with some of this money and how we structure that out in the future as well too. And then there's some potential that we could return to Charleston County in early 26, ask for more authorization for the fire apparatus. And I'm going to guess we've probably under budgeted the work at Station 2 and 7 as well too, just on cost as well. The last point is we can consider supplementing some of this with fund balance as well too.
What the ladder? Have you had any discussions with the C field?
As far as
Them contributing, because those facilities are quite big.
Yeah.
And they need a lot.
yes, so the other thing, I'll get to that in just a second. The other thing we have too, in our agreement with Kiowa River, they also have the cost of a replace up to, I think it's like $700,000 for a ladder truck. I'd have to look at the agreement. I don't remember it off the top of my head. What's interesting about that though, is we've pushed for kind of this fire station and property first, and we haven't really addressed that, which, yeah, back when the agreement was signed, 12 years ago, that's what a ladder truck costs. But also don't want to be the hand that keeps asking for stuff as well too. But we need to revisit that in that agreement from Kiowa Riverside. I feel probably the Seafields project's too far along for any ask of that nature as well too. But we do have the ladder truck, a new ladder truck on Kiowa that will be responding there quite a bit. And then our long-term plan is putting the tower back in service at Kiowa River as well too. So that's 2 ladder trucks in that vicinity as well. So
My second point is that the refurbishment of the Station 2 and 7 probably critical.
yes,
to our part.
it is. Yep.
And I think we should explore really using our fund balance to take care of that.
Yeah, we had David Myers did some initial kind of calculations and talked about some improvements that we can make at both station. Really, we need to revisit that because that now time has passed. But we also need somebody to really look at Station 2 and really figure out a lot of the issues with that building. We've got some moisture issues. The windows are terrible. We've got moisture issues around the windows. We've got a lot of issues at Station 2 that we need to address. We've talked about the flooding. It's probably not a ton we can do about that, but we need to address that as well too. So we can certainly look here in the very near future of what that looks like out of our fund balance. And all that would require us is to go back to Charleston County, amend our operational budget to include that in there as well too. So,
Yeah, I think with more accurate estimates for 2 and 7, and I agree, the fund balance is a good place to use. When we have more accurate information, then that would be the time to go back to Charleston County and ask for an amendment.
yeah, I think once we get a little bit farther along in these new fire station projects, and probably towards maybe the end of this year, early next year, we start looking at station 2 and 7 of what we can, for just the simple fact of not overloading all the stuff we got going on.
Except the fact.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
and the costs are just going to keep on going up and up
I
and
agree
up.
with you.
So on 2 with moisture issues, they're not having any mold or any safety issues, are they?
Don't have Jason, and our battalion chiefs might be able to chime in a little bit. I know,
Because
I don't think they have so much, they have an issue between the building, like the bay envelope and in the upstairs. There's definitely a moisture, which is probably then a mold issue, I would guess.
yeah, because
Is
that's
there
why.
mold, I think, in the living areas? Yeah, it's the bay where the
Okay.
issue is. If it was in the living areas, we would have already rectified
Right,
that for
okay.
sure, but yeah. So,
So maybe 2 and 7, we could prioritize. And if we need everything that is directly related, personnel, we kind of prioritize.
sure,
Top and then face
yes,
if we
Yep.
have to.
yeah.
Sir.
Leroy, can you turn your speaker on? Thank you.
Okay, when first started talking about Kewell River, when they were going to build a high-rise hotel, they said that they were going to assist us in getting a ladder vehicle
Mhm.
for that place, and then I think when you gave them the cost of it, that's sort of helped them come up and say, you know what, we don't need, and the ordinance from Charleston County said, you know what, we don't need to get it that high, but you know.
Yeah, I have the agreement I have in my, actually I'll probably pull it up on my computer here in the next few minutes or whatever. There's some specific language about when that ladder truck
Yeah.
issue kind of kicks in as well too. So they did scale down the hotel. I would still argue to get even close to the roof of those. I mean, there's still 3-story hotels, I believe. You still need a ladder truck there. So that's just kind of where we're at. So any other questions on that? I appreciate your time. I just want to make sure we were on the same page of how to tackle some of these things. So good. Thank you.
So I just want to include under new business a reminder that your South Carolina ethics report is due before March 31st. I did complete it and it was very similar to last year, but if anybody needs any help, the chief said, someone here on the administrative team can help you, but you just want to get it in before the end of the month.
I have to say it was extremely easy because it gives you an option just to select what you did last year.
So, the only thing that'll change is whatever your payment was in June of last year. That was the only difference for me is the dollar amount. Okay, committee reports, building committee.
Okay, we had a building committee meeting a couple of weeks ago and interviewed 3 architects for Keel River and selected, ranked them 1, 2, and 3. And we're currently negotiating the fee with number 1. And of course, if that doesn't work out, we can move to number 2 if we need to. So after we do the fee, then we put together a contract with whichever architect we're successfully negotiate the fee with. Station 5, we had a first kickoff meeting with Leo, the architect for that. That was a couple of weeks ago. And from now on through the design of the building. We will have a progress meeting every 2 weeks. After discussion with the chief and the chair, we don't think it's necessary for the entire building committee to attend both of those meetings every month. I'm thinking that we just have the whole building committee at the second meeting of the month, which is closer to a commission meeting. So, and I'll report on anything that we discussed at the first meeting that you might have missed. And by the way, that next meeting is this Wednesday, 2 days from now. I think that's going to be trying to get that to be a Zoom meeting. So we also received site survey bids for Kiowa River. Low bidder there was $18,000. That's it.
Okay, thank you. We already discussed finance committee, so there's nothing additional to add to that. So human resource committee, nothing to report. Okay. Ike strategic committee. Okay, thank you. Any public or firefighter comments? Commissioner comments. Ike, we'll start with you. Brooks?
Concur with what I said. I went in tandem with the photos. I think chief and his staff, excellent job. The guys know, we appreciate them for the time given. And they'll keep up the good work, stay safe.
Bob?
I would concur with those comments and then just to add. This I've been around here 6 years, 7 years, and this department has totally changed. Rock, turn world class, that's what you guys are. I'm proud to sit up here and work with you guys.
Leroy?
Okay, just a couple of questions, I guess. Well, one statement, on the 13th, DOT will be at St. John's showing their information on segment A, which is 17 in Maine, showing you what they plan to do about the roundabout and all the other stuff that they plan to do and why they're out of money. And
Same.
And Chief,
Mhm.
do you have anyone who's available to teach CPR training?
We do. We have all sorts of people available to teach CPR training.
I will be back in touch.
Yep, yep, yep.
And Danielle, thank you for taking care of our money. So you guys sitting behind her, if your check's late, see Chief, then see her. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Steve?
I'd like to also congratulate everyone on their promotions and awards. I have to say that ceremony, even though you get bits and pieces along the year, but to see it all together, it makes one very proud of our district and all of you for what you do. The other thing I wanted to mention was, yes, there's the operating budget and there's the capital budget. Chief went over the capital. During the operating budget discussions, we always try to take care of the personnel. And my commitment is we will continue to try to take care of you the best we can because of what you do. Thank you very much.
Bill?
The award ceremony, Chief, was top notch. Thank you for all your efforts in getting that done and to all those that helped you do that. And congratulations again to all those who received the awards and promotions.
Terry Lynn?
Congratulations to all reward recipients and promotions. According to the pictures, look like you all had a great time. To all firefighters and staff, stay safe.
And I also attended the promotion awards ceremony. I was really impressed with the turnout and the different awards and some of the CPR and all the different details that you went into. It was like, wow. I mean, you don't realize how many lives you save until you hear some of those examples. I know it was more than just the examples, but I just thought the ceremony was fantastic. The facilities were great to accommodate us. And the speakers were inspirational. Chief asked me if I wanted to say anything. And after I heard that Joe Boykin and the general were speaking, I said, no, I don't. I can't be as inspirational as them. So I am proud to be part of this too. And I've said that many times. And I hear a lot of compliments from people on Seabrook Island about how fantastic their experience is with this fire department. So thank you for everything you do. We don't have to go to executive session, but we're going to just go back here just a little bit on new business. So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I brought up the development agreement with Kiowa River itself. So there's the dedication of the land that's already in progress. So the ladder truck piece, it says ladder truck, the property owner will pay $800,000 or the actual cost, whichever is lesser. Bummer. Guess it's 800,000 towards the purchase of a ladder truck to service the real property for St. John's Fire District on or before obtaining a building permit for the construction of any building on the real property requiring a ladder truck according to National Fire Prevention Association requirements. So
Is that a little bit of
we
a,
have to look and I would assume I assume we've met that now. So we'll go back and take a look at that and maybe we'll try to
yeah, I was going to say before we break
Sure.
ground, it sounds like we want to,
$800,000 and see like that, see what that happens.
yeah,
But
we want to push for that.
yeah.
The
So-
one thing we didn't mention is Seabrook Island donated $400,000 towards a new high water vehicle. And although it's on order and they've given us the funds, it'll kind of be a wash through. It'll, I guess, pay this year, but it'll be a wash next year. But anyway, just to throw that out, that was another capital expenditure. Okay, any other?
The brush truck we sent out to.
Yeah. I apologize. I forgot that in my report as well. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah, we had two different crews went up to Horry County to assist. Our brush truck put in a lot of work. It got put to use. Chief Henson was deployed there as part of incident management as well too. He can probably tell you a little bit more about the work that they did if you want to step up.
So those guys, I'm sure you saw part of the pictures. Apologize, we don't have it. We'll have it next month. Those guys spent 4 days working in pretty austere environment. So you probably saw a lot of the pictures and whatnot, but it wasn't just the fire, it was the smoke. So the guys dealt with a pretty significant inversion, which is when the smoke comes down at night due to, heat rising and so forth and low humidity. But they dealt with some pretty austere environment, but they worked with forestry. They worked with Horry County Fire Rescue, and I couldn't be more proud. We should be very proud of those guys, the work they did. And zero feedback, I think, from myself or Chief Prouse that wasn't positive. So thank you for allowing them to do it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we had people on. Sorry.
Zero. Which, very proud of St. John's, but for our brothers and sisters in Horry, that's pretty significant. If you saw the pictures, no homes lost, no injuries, of course, no deaths. So it was very impressive work done by our folks and theirs. So thank you.
We had several people on social media from their neighborhoods where our truck was operating in their neighborhood that added comments that said, "Oh, you guys were working behind my house," kind of thing. So it's good. So yes, thank you.
Last
Go
thing,
ahead.
this is staff, if you could just change the letterhead. And it's never.
Yeah.
Here.
So yeah, the letterhead has been a point of anxiety for a long time. We're going to change letterhead I don't want it to hurt anybody's feelings. Is it okay if we take off the commissioner's name so we don't have to change it every year?
That's fine.
And
I don't need
it's
to be on
one
there.
nice St. John's letterhead and we can use it on everything and then we don't, because there's about 35 documents we need to update every time we do that and we miss some. So,
You notice I didn't even look, so.
So it's a few votes.
yes,
There you go.
yeah. So we'll get the letterhead fixed.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment. Do I have a second? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed or abstain? All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer.
Have a great one.